Big Tobacco began its fight against the government's plain packaging laws for cigarettes in the High Court today. But the proposals aren't only facing a challenge at home. 2 countries have now officially requested consultations on the law at the World Trade Organization. One is major tobacco producer Honduras, the other is Ukraine, a country with no tobacco trade at all with Australia. Anti-smoking activists there say there's something Ukraine does have, and that's powerful cigarette companies and a government willing to do their bidding. Russia correspondent Norman Hermant travelled to Kiev to explore Ukraine's challenge to Australia's plain packaging plans.
In Ukraine, these are big business. For much of the last decade, this country had one of the highest per capita cigarette consumption rates on Earth, more than 2,500 sticks per year for each person. The cigarettes made here are sold all over the world, but none are exported to Australia, which is why Ukraine's move to challenge Australia's cigarette plain packaging law at the World Trade Organization has not only Australians confused. Everyone from health advocates here to members of the Ukrainian parliament are demanding answers from the government.
When I first read about the position of the government, it seems to be a joke, because we have a zero trade exchange between Australia and Ukraine of any tobacco goods.
Ukraine's challenge is no joke. It's demanded consultations at the WTO over the plain packaging law, arguing, amongst other points, that the measures are more trade restrictive than necessary to achieve the stated health objectives. In Kiev's sprawling outskirts, at the offices of the Ministry of Health's Tobacco Control Unit, there's little surprise over the government's move, but there is disappointment.
It's actually a shame for us that it was Ukraine authorities was so stupid enough to do it, because we're absolutely sure that tobacco industry asked government in many countries to do the same, but most of the countries refuse to do it.
But Ukraine's tobacco industry is especially powerful. Conglomerates like Japan Tobacco International, JTI, and Philip Morris surged in after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and production soared, peaking at more than 130 billion cigarettes 4 years ago. It's been an open secret that nearly a quarter of all sticks made here are smuggled out of the country, most to the European Union. For its part, JTI had words of support for Ukraine's WTO challenge. We can understand why the Ukrainian government is challenging Australia on this issue. It simply won't work and would have ramifications far beyond the tobacco sector. Put simply, if this measure is passed, Australia will be saying to the rest of the world, we're not open for business. But all is not rosy for Ukraine's tobacco giants. Smoking rates have been falling, and so has production, as taxes on cigarettes went up and laws were passed limiting advertising.
Things for Ukraine cigarette makers are about to get even tougher. After years of foot-dragging, the government has finally passed laws that will make it illegal to advertise where cigarettes are sold. Health warnings on packs are going to get bigger, and there'll also be the nightmarish smoking damage pictures, now so familiar to many countries in the West.
In fact, many anti-smoking activists say there's a straight line connecting the tough new laws and the WTO challenge.
Of course it's a payback, because they're not sitting quiet. They're trying to find the loopholes, they're trying to find the ways. They have a teams of lawyers that are working full-time every day. We don't have these lawyers, but they do.
Activists here still hope they can change the government's mind and stop the process before Ukraine requests a formal WTO ruling. But they also say they expect more fight from the tobacco industry.
It's called scream test. If tobacco industry try to scream that don't do it because it's not work, it's 100% proof it works. But with plain packages, scream test is so loud that it's 1000% guarantee it works.
And that, apparently, is what the Ukrainian government is afraid of. Norman Hermant, Late Line.